So I have the same yellows that we used last week. I have yellow pale and lemon yellow, and then I have the Naples yellow and the cadmium yellow. And I brought this other one too because it's a very cool looking yellow. Not cool, but interesting. It's yellow oxide. So these are the warms and these are the cools. And then we're using the same blues. I have Cerulean, which is a warm blue, and Ultramarine Blue, which is a cool blue. And then I brought in Payne's Gray. And I also have off to the side my pre-mixed, the pre-made greens that are in the tubes that we're gonna look at later on too. So let me see if I can make this a little, I'm just gonna switch sides. I think that might be the best way so we're in a good space here. All right, so let's just get the yellows out on the page. So I'm gonna just kind of do it the same thing I did before. I have yellow pale and lemon yellow. These are the warmer yellows. This is the cadmium yellow medium hue. And Naples yellow, which is a very opaque, it makes everything look a little more pastel, like when you mix it. And then I have this strong oxide, which is a very earthy, I used yellow ochre last time, but I thought I would try this one this time. All right. All right, so let's just put the yellows up there. Okay, I'll go through my little thing here, and this is, I think, the lemon, which was very bright. Okay, those are the cool yellows, and then let's go just move them down here. This is the cadmium. This is a great yellow to have, the cadmium yellow. Take it down here. So it mixes well with other colors. And I'm just gonna just jump over to this oxide, which is a very earthy. It's very close to the yellow ochre, and sometimes I'll mix that in, yellow ochre and sienna, and then we have the Naples, which is very creamy. Okay, so now let's add the blues. So I'm gonna start with, if you can see it over here, I have the Ultramarine Blue, which is not coming out of the tube. I have this old tube here. And Cerulean Blue. And then I'm going to use Payne's Gray, which I think is really an important color to have because it's a cool and it really mixes well with so many colors to deepen your color. Okay, so we're just going to start with this Ultramarine Blue, and I'm going to mix it with the pale, the yellow pale. That's right here. That's a pretty green. And you know, you can make it more of a blue green if you know, with the blue, so you just kind of have to kind of play with your recipe. All right, so now I'm gonna mix it with the lemon. I need a little bit more of the lemon. Get a nice bright green. That's pretty. A bit more blue. Now it's a little bit more blue. It's really pretty. Okay, so now let's take it to the warm. This is the cadmium and the ultramarine. I have a lot of water in this, so you can make this much thicker, but that would take a little bit more time to mix up. So I'm getting this kind of forest green, a bit more olive. Actually, I like it with less yellow in it. So now I have a cool and a warm mixed together. So you can see it gets a little bit more earthy color, earthy. All right, now I'm gonna mix the oxide. Okay, that's right here. Oh, I kind of like that. That's pretty. Okay, and now let's mix the Naples Yellow. It's very soft. It's almost like a pastel. It looks different over here on the mixing sheet. Let me mix it a little bit more here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't love that color. I really don't. So, I like Naples Yellow. Okay, so now I'm going to add the Cerulean Blue into the mix. And we're going to get a bright. So now I have a warm and a cool again. So I'm going to put this as the Cerulean. So it really is a bright, almost grass green. Really pretty. And then let's mix it with a little bit of the lemon. Ooh, that is bright. That's a bright green, okay. And I need more cadmium here. Did not put much paint out. This is kind of how I started yesterday, because I was, I had talked about feeling so much resistance, and so I just started mixing and playing with color and kind of sticking to this one color palette, and it made it was actually very relaxing once I got going. And I put on some dramatic music, and that always helps me. Okay, so there, it's kind of an olive green. All right, so now I have the oxide, yellow oxide. So you can see what's happening with this warm and warm. It's much earthier, a little bit of a dirtier color. And then I don't see how this is gonna look. Oh, that's actually kind of pretty. And that's actually pretty. I like that one. I think bringing white in, that's really pretty. So that was the Naples Yellow and the Cerulean Blue. Okay, so next I want to just show you a few things with the Payne's Gray and the yellow. So I have to start over a little bit here. So this is the cool. Cool yellow, cool blue. The lemon. Okay, get some cadmium here. I'm going to get a nice olive green. You can also mix the cadmium yellow with a little bit of black and get a nice olive as well. And let's see. Let's put a little dash up here. This is the oxide. And I don't like that. It's kind of a muddy color. Oh, it's very muddy. All right, so finally, let's do a little Naples and the blue. But you can see how that Naples is very opaque and makes everything very opaque. That's kind of pretty. I have a stormy color. Okay, so that's all the yellow and blue. And let me move this out of the way, and I'm gonna just show you some of my favorite greens. Okay. All right. I have a big piece of paper for green. Let's turn this around and see if I can use that. So some of the greens that I have right here, I like olive. So I have 2 olives I'm going to show you. I have one by Arteza that came in a little pouch, and then the one by Atelier. They're a little bit, they're different. This one is the one I really like. It's getting a little dried up. Come out, please. Wait, it's not coming out. What's happening? Okay, obviously I like it enough, but I haven't used it in a while. I've been in a different green phase. Okay, there we go. Whew. All right, so this is the Atelier, and it's interactive, so you can just spritz it with water. And it's more of a transparent, I like the transparency of this one. Now I'm going to show you the Arteza green. And it's more opaque. Okay. Now I'm going to show you Sap Green. So I have light Sap Green. I don't have a tube of it, so it's going to be different from different brands. And this is a really bright, clean green. And it makes a good base, which I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to actually mix that right now with some Payne's Gray, because that's how I would use it. So mix a little of that with some Payne's Gray, and it gives me this really beautiful, rich olive green. And I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you Hooker's Green, which is also very beautiful. Ooh. All right, that's really pretty. And if I mix that with the Payne's Gray, it's a cooler, it's a gorgeous kind of blue green, really rich, like a deep in a cool forest green, which I think is nice when, like, if you're doing a landscape, or if you're doing florals and you want to get some variations in your greens and your leaves. I think it's great to bring that in. And then I have both Goldens and Liquitex of the Chromium Oxide Green, which is it has yellow in it, but it's considered a cool green. So let's try them both out. I like this one, and in the class Collected Stories, I used this and mixed it with Payne's Gray and added some gray and white to get a really beautiful pale color. All right. And this was the tube I used, and it's very... It's gonna come out for me. There we go. See how close they are. Experiment. very close. This one's creamier than the Liquitex. All right, now I'm gonna mix it. With the Payne's Gray. So that's quite pretty. All right, now I'm gonna show you something else. So I don't use a lot of the fluids, and they're really nice. I just never use them. I don't know why. Maybe I'll change my ways. So I have raw umber here. And I talk about Payne's Gray being this great, it's almost like a neutralizing color. You can do so much with it. So I want to show you what happens when we mix a little bit of raw umber with Payne's Gray. And you get this is that Payne's Gray? Make sure. And I've got too much of it in there. Darn it, I'm running out of room. Okay, let's put some more. I got too much brown. Okay. This demonstration may be a disaster now. Okay, here we go. So it makes a black, and it's a really beautiful black because it's not just, it's got a little bit of brown, and the more blue I put into it, I get kind of a midnight blue in it. That's what I'm looking for right there. I just have a lot of green in my water, but it gives me this very smoky, pretty blue-black, which is nice. And let me just put a little bit of gesso so we can see the white of it, which is nice, just to have that alternative to the black. So I'm going to put a little bit of, you can see how it's just a beautiful gray, blue-gray. I really like that. Okay, so I think that was all my greens, and I think the greens are really beautiful in the way they kind of work with when you're painting flowers or landscapes and bringing in ochres and burnt siennas and, the earth colors. They just look beautiful because of the natural colors. So I was reading in one of my books about paint colors, and the greens are all manufactured colors, and when we mix them, they become more of a pure color. I think that's how I was understanding it. I'm not an expert on all that, but I know what I like, and so I find that when I put down a color palette and when I'm working, I stick to one side. So if you've taken any of my classes and we're painting, I try to simplify the decisions that I have to make as when I'm painting, because if I have everything out on my palette, then I get a little overwhelmed. So when I was working on the oil paintings, I had all the greens and blues on one side, and then over to the other side, I had the pinks, the siennas off to the side so that I could concentrate on, that's how it works more intuitively for me. And when I'm working on a temporary palette, one of these disposable palettes, I just mainly keep to one side of the color wheel, because then I make less mud when I do it. So I'm gonna fold that up, and it may be collage paper one day. Save it. All right, so I'm gonna turn it around and see if you have any questions, and I may have paint on my face as usual, but here we go. So have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Bye.